let's get on to a subject that's dear to me: business continuity and disaster recovery planning. We start with a pretty gruesome picture, but it shows you a bit, well, you know, we hope that this isn't going to happen, but if it does, we'll be ready for it. Business continuity is the ability of an organization to continue to deliver its products or services at acceptable levels following a disruptive incident. Let me give you a real-life example of this. In 2019, I helped audit the setup, and it was quite intensive, of a different ISO 22301 Business Continuity Management Systems ISO standard. So we were putting that in place, or rather as auditors, we're helping put that in place. We had a full audit. We did an audit report. It had like 25 different findings in it, a lot of high risks. But the business continuity team was absolutely excellent. So they managed to, from all of our 25 findings, reduce it to exactly 0. So that when the ISO, certifier came, the ISO certifier said, okay, you know what? You have absolutely 0 non-conformances in this organization. I think 1 or 2 opportunities for improvement, but that's pretty light, huh? So absolutely 0 non-conformances. Now, I just said 2019. As you are aware, there's something called COVID-19. And so we were, as an organization, ISO 22301 certified just on time for COVID, and when it hit in kind of March 2020, we were probably one of the 2 best prepared organizations in the whole country. I say one of the 2 because there was one other ISO 22301 certified organization. And so when it hit, we were ready. We were ready. We could already homework from the day after homeworking for all the population in the country was mandated. There was minimal disruption. In fact, here's the thing. In January, end of January, when there were only 2,000 cases in the world, and they were mostly in China, cases of COVID-19, I sent an email to the business continuity manager on a Sunday. I think it was around 25th, 26th, 27th of January. And, I said, okay, there's this thing in China. We had offices in China. Let's get ready. We had a meeting the following day, and we were already preparing. We were checking. We were double checking. Okay, do we have laptops for everyone? Check. Do we have, external connections for everyone? Check. And so when COVID hit, well, honestly, it was nearly business as usual, despite the fact that, the whole world was in panic. Disaster recovery aims to enable the recovery or continuation of vital technology infrastructure and systems following a disaster. I'd just like to make a little distinction between business continuity, which is often seen as wider. Disaster recovery, and I don't think it's about the terminology, but rather about the use. Disaster recovery usually applies to IT, whereas business continuity applies to, all processes in an organization. And I don't know why, disaster is different from continuity, but it's just like that. Disaster recovery focuses on IT or technology systems, whereas business continuity aims to keep the essential aspects of the business functioning. And whereas business continuity kind of describes the processes for preparing for potential incidents, which could put the organization at risk. So business continuity aims to help the organization, whatever happens, continue in its mission and continue on its short-term but also long-term viability, as in its ability to survive. A bit about the documentation. Since we're looking at IT, we'll look at the disaster recovery plan, but you have the same thing for a business continuity plan, BCP. A disaster recovery plan is a document which contains instructions on how to respond to incidents. For instance, it's going to have, often as an annex, the people to contact in case of emergency, how to deal with the first 30 minutes of an incident, how to deal with the first 24 hours of an incident. And so it guides you through the steps. It's often distributed throughout an organization, at least when well done, and helps usually everyone in the organization kind of to know what their role is, especially people, certain people are often mentioned, often in an annex to the document, as having a role given certain things happening.